Stop whatever you are doing right now, because what is unfolding in the California desert at this very moment is something we may not see again for a very long time. I'm not talking about a Grand Slam final. I'm not talking about some championship decider with decades of history behind it. I am talking about a third-round match, a round of 32 clash, between the world number 4 and the world number 32, and it has completely and utterly broken the internet. Stadium 1 at Indian Wells, all 16,000 seats, every single one of them filled to the brim. The energy crackling through that arena right now is the kind you feel in your chest before a ball has even been struck. And the two women at the center of all of this? Coco Gauff, 21 years old, Grand Slam champion, the face of American women's tennis, playing in her own backyard. And on the other side of the net, a 20-year-old from the Philippines named Alexandra Eala, ranked 32nd in the world, who has somehow, in an impossibly short window of time, become one of the most talked about athletes on the entire planet. This is not just a tennis match. This is a cultural moment, and if you are not paying attention, you are missing something genuinely historic. Indian Wells is one of the most celebrated events in professional tennis. Players call it the 5th Grand Slam. The facility is world-class, the weather is perfect, and the crowds that gather out there in the desert are among the most knowledgeable and passionate in all of sport. And yet, in all the years this tournament has existed, there are very few moments where a third-round match generates the kind of hysteria we are seeing right now. That alone tells you everything. It tells you that what Alexandra Eala is doing for tennis goes so far beyond her ranking, so far beyond the numbers on a scoreboard. She is pulling people into this sport who never once considered watching it before. She is filling stadiums in cities thousands of miles from Manila, and she is doing it at 20 years old with a game that is simultaneously precise, electric, and completely fearless. But before we get into what is about to happen tonight under those bright California lights, we need to go back. We need to rewind to February 19, 2026, to a court in Dubai, because what happened there is the entire foundation of the story we are telling today. The Dubai Tennis Championships, quarterfinal stage. Eala was riding one of the best stretches of tennis of her young career. She had just beaten Jasmine Paolini, a top 10 player, for her third career win over elite competition. She had not dropped a single set through the early rounds. Her confidence was through the roof. She walked onto that court in Dubai with momentum, with genuine belief, and with the full-throated backing of a stadium packed with Filipino fans who had shown up in extraordinary numbers to watch one of their own. And then Coco Gauff happened. What unfolded over the next 67 minutes was not a contest. It was a demonstration. Gauff played the kind of tennis where everything clicks, where every decision is correct, where your opponent starts to feel like there is no way through, no angle unexplored, no shot that is not covered. She won the first 10 games of the match before Eala could even get on the board. 10 consecutive games. The final score was 6-0, 6-2, and it was not nearly as close as 6-2 suggests. Gauff read every pattern Eala tried to establish. Every time the young Filipina thought she had constructed a point worth finishing, the ball came screaming back. Gauff's court coverage was at a level very few players in the world can consistently produce. She turned defense into offense with breathtaking ease, and she did it repeatedly and relentlessly until Eala had nothing left to try. What stood out in the aftermath, though, was not the scoreline. It was the character of both women. Gauff took the microphone and addressed the crowd directly. She thanked them. She looked out at a stadium that was overwhelmingly there to cheer against her, and she said, "Thank you, this is what tennis needs." She praised Eala by name, acknowledged what the young Filipino was doing for the sport, and said that a packed and passionate stadium is ultimately a beautiful thing for tennis at large. It was gracious, it was mature, and it completely changed the temperature in that arena. Then came Eala. She stepped in front of the press and she did not hedge, did not spin, did not make excuses. She said plainly that there is still a significant gap between where she is and where a player like Coco Gauff operates, and that her entire mission now was to close it. No drama, no deflection, just honesty and purpose. Two young women handling a massive public moment with more class than most veterans twice their age. That is who we are dealing with. That is why this rematch matters so much. It is also worth knowing that these two have shared a court as partners before. Back in 2025 at the Italian Open, Gauff and Eala paired up in doubles and reached the quarterfinals together. They know each other's games intimately. There is genuine warmth between them. But friendship disappears the second that coin toss happens. When the umpire calls time on the first game of this match, it is competitor versus competitor with no room for sentiment. Now let's look at how each of them arrived here in California, because their second-round performances reveal a lot about the form they are both carrying tonight. Eala faced Diana Yastremska, a hard-hitting Ukrainian who punishes anything tentative, and she had to grind through a full 3-set war to survive. She won the first set 7-5, dropped the second 4-6, then found something deep in the deciding set to take it 7-5. What was remarkable was her composure when the pressure was at its highest. She saved nearly half the break points she faced and executed the right shots in the biggest moments. Her season record sits at 9 wins and 5 losses, but the manner of that victory told us something far more important than any number. It told us that the 6-0, 6-2 scoreline in Dubai did not leave a scar. It left a lesson. Gauff's path looked smoother on paper but carried its own warning signs. She beat Kamila Rakimova in straight sets, 6-3, 7-6, but the match was anything but comfortable. Gauff served 10 double faults. She was broken 5 times on her own serve. Her first serve percentage sat below 50 for stretches of the match. For most players, those numbers mean a loss. For Gauff, they meant a close but manageable win, because her return game compensated for almost everything her serve gave away. She broke Rakimova 7 times and won every tiebreak she played. But Rakimova is not Eala. The margin for error against a player with Eala's tennis IQ is considerably thinner, and if the double faults keep coming tonight against this crowd and this opponent, they could easily be the difference in the match. Her season record is 11-4, and the mental toughness is unquestionable. But she needs her serve to show up. The tactical question at the heart of this match is this: what did Eala learn from Dubai, and how does she translate that learning into something Gauff cannot simply undo? The first answer is the second serve. In Dubai, Eala spent most of the match playing from deep behind the baseline, constantly absorbing pace, constantly on the defensive. That is not where her game works best. Her tennis is built on intelligence and construction, on drawing opponents into uncomfortable positions with angles and changes of pace before finishing with clean, precise ball striking. Tonight, if Gauff's serve is misfiring the way it was against Rakimova, Eala has to step forward, take those second serves early, and refuse to be pushed into the passive tennis Gauff dismantled so easily in the UE. She also needs to vary the pace and trajectory of rallies. Gauff is most dangerous when the ball is coming with pace, because she redirects it with even more power. What disrupts power players is constant rhythm changes. Slices that stay low. Drop shots that drag them to the net. Angles that force lateral movement rather than big hitting from comfortable positions. Eala has every one of those tools. The question is whether she can access them under the pressure of the biggest match of her life, in front of 16,000 people, against the player who handed her the worst defeat of her career less than 3 weeks ago. For Gauff, the approach is simpler in theory but demands real mental discipline to execute. She needs her first serve working. When she is landing first serves at a high percentage, she controls the match from the very first ball of every game. She needs to use her wingspan and footwork to push Eala wide, stretch the rallies, and open up the court for her crushing forehand. She needs to make Eala play from uncomfortable positions repeatedly, because the moment Eala settles into a mid-court rhythm, Gauff is inviting precisely the kind of precise and creative tennis that could genuinely trouble her. And then there is the dimension of this match that goes beyond tactics entirely. Coco Gauff is an American superstar playing in California, and in almost any other version of this match, she would have 16,000 people in her corner. Tonight, that whole dynamic is inverted. The Filipino community in California and across North America has mobilized in a way that is unprecedented for a player ranked 32nd in the world. They bought tickets weeks ago when Eala was not even confirmed in the draw. That is how deep the belief runs. The noise when Eala wins a point, when she hits a winner, when Gauff double faults, is going to be deafening. Gauff has the mental fortitude to handle hostile environments. She won the US Open under enormous pressure. She has played in partisan atmospheres before and found a way to stay locked in. But this is her home country, and she is effectively the away player, and that psychological wrinkle is genuinely fascinating. Does it irritate her? Does it galvanize her? Does she channel the discomfort into the kind of aggressive, clean tennis that silences a stadium by force of quality alone? The crowd cuts both ways for Eala too. That level of support is a gift, but it is also weight. Every single person in that building came with expectations. They did not fly in from Manila or drive 3 hours across California to watch another 6-0 beatdown. They want a performance, they want a fight, and if the match turns sideways early and the scoreline starts to look familiar, Eala has to stay steady while 16,000 nervous fans hold their breath around her. Keeping composure when your own supporters are anxious is one of the hardest things in sport. What Alexandra Eala is doing right now for tennis is something the sport has been trying to accomplish for years. She is 20 years old, ranked 32nd in the world, and she is the biggest draw in the entire sport right now. Not just among Filipino fans, but among casual sports audiences across the globe who are drawn in by the story, by the passion, by the idea of an entire nation rallying behind one of its own. Front Office Sports reported she is driving late-night ticket sales across California and that practice courts with her name on the schedule are packed while bigger names work to near-empty stands. That is not a ranking story. That is a cultural story. And Gauff represents something equally important. She is what happens when raw talent meets the right environment and the right mindset. She turned professional young, weathered the enormous weight of being America's next great tennis hope, developed her game steadily, and emerged as a Grand Slam champion and a top 5 player before her 22nd birthday. She is, in almost every measurable way, the model for what a young tennis player should aspire to become. Which makes tonight a genuinely beautiful collision. The established young champion who has already done everything required to prove herself against the rising force carrying an entire country's dreams, armed with the painful clarity of a 6-0 loss and 3 weeks of burning motivation. If Gauff wins, she goes out in front of a stadium overwhelmingly against her, in her own country, and performs anyway. She proves the gap remains real and that her mental toughness is more than enough to overcome a shaky serve and a roaring partisan crowd. If Eala wins, the shock waves will be felt everywhere. It will not just be an upset. It will be a declaration that the hierarchy has shifted, that there is a new name who belongs in every conversation about who can win the biggest events in the sport. And back in the Philippines, in living rooms and sports bars and on phones on buses and trains, millions of people will lose their minds completely. That is what is on the line tonight. That is why 16,000 people filled a stadium for a third-round match. Tennis grows when moments like this happen, and this is one of those moments that people in this sport will still be referencing years from now regardless of who wins. The beauty of all of this is that none of it is staged. None of it is manufactured for a streaming platform or written by a marketing team. It happened organically because one 20-year-old from the Philippines showed up and played tennis with so much heart that an entire community said we are going wherever she goes. That kind of thing is rare in any sport. You cannot manufacture it, you cannot buy it, you cannot plan for it. It just happens sometimes when a player connects with people on a level that transcends the sport itself. Eala has done that at a speed and scale that even the most optimistic observer would not have predicted. And the fascinating thing about where she sits right now is that she has already beaten top 10 players. She already has the wins on the board that prove she belongs in this conversation. The Dubai result was brutal, but it was one match, and the version of Eala who steps onto that court tonight at Indian Wells has had 3 weeks to sit with that result, break it down, and come back with something sharper. Whether that is enough to close the gap against Gauff on this specific night in these specific conditions, that is the entire question. That is the whole drama of it. And the answer is coming very soon. So drop your score prediction in the comments right now. Tell me who you are backing and why. And if you got something out of this breakdown, hit the like button and subscribe because this tennis season is only getting more dramatic from here and we are going to be across every single moment of it.